Papandreou was the country's prime minister when it all started to unfold, and he joins us now live from the US Democratic National Convention, actually in Charlotte, in North Carolina. Thank you so much for joining us. So what do you make of Mario Draghi's latest moves, this bond-buying program, which he implies isn't printing money?
Well, Mr. Foster, I think what we are seeing now is that, in fact, Europe is now getting its act together. I would say finally getting its act together. First of all, because this is a very strong intervention into the markets, the bond markets. And I think secondly, what it indicates is that we are moving away from a narrative which said that if each country alone just put its house in order, whether it's Greece or Italy or Spain or Portugal and Ireland, that would be enough. There is a deeper systemic question of trust towards the Eurozone, and that is what is trying to be addressed. I think it will be addressed by Mario Draghi's announcements today. If you add to that the announcements that the four heads of the institutions of the European Union will be making around the credit guarantees and banking union in the next few days, I think this shows a real move forward in getting our act together.
It has proved to be a solution of sorts because there's been a short-term positive impact on the stock markets. The bond markets will be more stable now, won't they? But it's not really a solution. It's just a stopgap. It's not going to be a long-term solution. The long-term solution is fundamental economic reform, and that isn't making the progress that economists want.
Well, economic reform in each country does take certain time, and I think that if you take Greece, for example, there's been a myth that nothing has been done. Well, in fact, in 2 years, we cut our deficit by 6.5%. According to the OECD, we are #1 in structural reforms of the industrialized world. #1, not #2. So there's a mythology about whether reform is being done or not. So I think this is the market sentiment that is pushing a deeper question is, are we getting our act together? Can we Europeans integrate deeper? And can we deal with the systemic problems the Eurozone had from its inception? And I think this, I wouldn't say this is the final final stage of the integration, but it certainly shows a very strong will. And secondly, this intervention to the markets will have a direct effect on the bond markets. Mario Draghi said that even countries that are now in the bailout process and the adjustment program, as they go out onto the markets, they will also benefit by the ECB intervening into the markets if necessary. Now, had the ECB done this... Yes.
Sorry, you wonder what the ECB is really there to do, though, because he made a comment today. This would address a bond market distortions, he said, and unfounded fears of investors about the survival of the euro. So what he's doing is addressing unfounded fears. So what's he doing? He's just sort of responding to markets. That's not his job, is it?
Well, I think that in this crisis, after 2007, 2008, Wall Street crisis, I mean, we have seen central banks, whether it's the Fed or the ECB, taking extraordinary measures. I would say that this is in their remit if you think that they have to keep stability in the economic system, in the financial systems. Now, this does not mean that we will still do not have a lot. We have a lot of work to do in order to create a strong Eurozone. The fiscal monitoring is now being put in place, but there will be other issues such as the banking union. There will be other issues such as a social welfare system. We need, and Mr. Barroso just said these days that we need to look and see how we keep the social cohesion. The welfare system is important for growth itself, not simply for social and value issues, for growth itself, to be able to keep a younger generation educated, trained, and ready for moving to a more competitive Europe. And I think these are very important issues, but it will take some time. And I think what we have seen now is austerity is one thing, but we also need reform, and they don't always go together. You need to make big changes. If we have a company, for example, that isn't competitive, just cutting is not going to make it competitive. We need to do certain reforms, and this is what we're doing, for example, in Greece. Our tax system has had problems, but that's a reform question. That's not simply cutting or raising taxes. We have to hit tax evasion.